Hey everybody, thanks so much for stopping by my channel. My name is Mindy and I'm a homeschooling mom of 4. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about how to fill out your quarterly reports for New York State. So this video is part of a series of videos of how to homeschool in New York State. Be sure to check out the playlist that I have. I'll link that down below. Today's video is going to solely focus on how to fill out your quarterly reports. So first of all, you will send 4 quarterly reports to the superintendent of the district in which you reside. It is slightly different for New York City. I am not familiar with the regulations for New York City at all. You will want to check those out and find somebody who knows a little bit more about New York City. You can choose your dates as long as they are evenly spaced out throughout the year. The district might send you dates and you can go by those dates if you want to as well. So you will need to complete a quarterly report for each child that you are working with in grades 1 through 12. Technically, you wouldn't need to send in a report for a pre-K student or a kindergarten student. It's your personal preference if you want to do that, but per New York State regulations for homeschooling, you don't need to do that. Let's get into what needs to be on your quarterly reports. First of all, you need the number of hours of instruction that you have completed for that quarter for every student. Now, when I'm talking about these reports here, I'm going to be talking about 1 report per student. So you will need to do this for all of the kids in your family. For instance, this year I'm teaching 3 of my kiddos, so I will be sending in 3 reports. Side note, I also want you to know that even though my youngest is in pre-K, I choose to still send in a report for her so that it is on record with my district that I am actually giving her instruction in pre-K and kindergarten, but technically you don't have to do that. While I'm talking about all of these things, I am referring to 1 report, and you will have to do it multiple times depending upon how many children you have. Just to reiterate, if you watched my ihip video, for every school year, you need to have 180 days of instruction for grades 1 through 12. And then for grades 1 through 6, you need 900 hours of instruction on record. For grades 7 through 12, you need 990 hours of instruction on record for the entire year. So you need to put for quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, how many hours you have done during that quarter. And at the end of your 4 quarters, they should add up to either 900 hours or 990 hours and also 180 days. Second thing you need is a description of the material that was taught in every subject area. This will look different across grade levels, and I'll get a little bit more into that later on in the video, but I'm really not going to dive deep. Just keep it simple, guys. You don't need to overthink it. You just write what you have done for math. What have you done for English? What have you done for history? Okay, and just keep it simple. What have you done during that quarter? The third thing that you were going to put on there is either a grade for your student in that subject area. So math, A, English, A, history, A, or you're going to write a little snippet evaluating the child's progress. I personally have done both. It's just a personal preference of what works best for you, your time, and your family. Lastly, if for some reason you did not complete 80% of the amount of course materials that were set forth in the ihip, you need to have a written explanation for why you didn't meet that. Also want to mention that on your 3rd quarterly report that you should put a statement about your assessment plans for the end of the year. I'm not going to talk too much about assessments because this video focuses solely on quarterly reports, but you will have to assess your child every year. So be on the lookout for that video. But on your 3rd quarterly report, just make it very simple, and you could write something like, my child will take the blank test prior to the end of quarter 4 to fulfill the annual assessment requirement. If you watched my ihip video, which this one right here, and I'll link that down below, you'll notice how in that video I discussed that there are some slight differences about the subjects that are being taught for 1st through 6th grades, 7th and 8th grade, and then 9th through 12th grade. So whatever is listed on your ihip, you are going to report on those subjects. So I've got the regulations right here, everything highlighted for you. So in grades 1 through 6, you need to be teaching arithmetic, reading, spelling, writing, the English language. By the way, I combine a lot of those. Geography, United States history, science, health education, music, visual arts, physical education, bilingual education, and or English as a second language where the need is indicated. For grades 7 and 8, you need to teach English, history and geography, science, math, physical education, health education, art, music, practical arts, and library skills. And then, at least once during the first 8 grades, you need to teach United States history, New York State history, and the Constitution of the United States and New York State. Then in grades 9 through 12, you need to teach 4 credits of English, 4 credits of social studies, which includes 1 unit of American history, 1/2 unit in participation in government, and 1/2 unit in economics. You need 2 units of math, 2 units of science, 1 unit of art and or music, 1/2 unit of health education, 2 units of physical education, and then 3 electives. Now this is kind of strange here because technically we don't need to report in kindergarten, but this is what the regulations state. In kindergarten through grade 12, you need to also cover patriotism and citizenship, health education regarding alcohol, drug, and tobacco misuse, highway safety and traffic regulations, including bicycle safety, and fire and arson prevention and safety. So it can get slightly confusing, but honestly, guys, once you've been doing this for a while, it's going to be like a cinch. It's really not going to be that bad. I mean, but if you are like moving into New York State, or if you are a brand new homeschooler in New York State, it can seem really overwhelming, but I don't want that to discourage you from homeschooling. Not let these regulations stress you out and make things like overcomplicated for yourself. In a nutshell, figure out what works best for your family as to when you are going to teach those like really odd things that I just discussed, like bicycle safety, traffic safety, fire and prevention safety, and just kind of fit them in as you can during that time period. The same thing is true for New York State history during the first 8 grade levels. Figure out where it's going to work best for you and just teach it then and include it in your quarterly reports. So this is going to be my 1st through 6th grade example. Now, this does say kindergarten because I did use this for my daughter for kindergarten for last year, but it's the exact same thing that you're going to do for 1st through 6th grade. So this is her ihip. You can see that. I just wanted to show you because this is how I set up all of the subjects that I'm going to be teaching. Remember how I said I combined things? So English language and reading. And then when I did my quarterly report, I combined English language arts, reading, writing. Okay, so here is my ihip. All right. And then let's look at an example of a quarterly report. This was for last year. I don't have mine done for this year yet. So at the top, I put homeschool quarterly report, progress report, 3rd quarter, and then the school year. I put prepared by my name and then our address. And then I also put what report it is so you can see 3rd quarter report. You need the grade level of your student, their first and last name. Hours of instruction for our 3rd quarter was 350 hours and then 50 days of material. Do you remember how I talked about that 80%? If you didn't have 80% of your coursework done, you needed to explain why. Well, on mine, I always put this statement to make sure that we are doing that. Now, let's just take a look at English language arts and writing. Okay, so here's what I did, guys. I listed some of the favorite books that we read, but then down here, I listed some of the concepts that we did in reading. So for instance, reading 3-letter words, parts 2, 3, and 4, spelling 3-letter words, consonant, vowel, consonant, word practice, CVC word practice. Okay, group 1 sight words. And then over here, narrative evaluation or grade in each subject. These are just statements that I put about how I thought her progress was for the third quarter. Here is what I have for math. Again, this is an example for 1st through 6th grade. I have math, and then over here, I just listed the concepts that we did, and then in prior quarterly reports, I wrote a little bit more, but for the third one, I just put this statement here. So now let's take a look at a 7th and 8th grade example. Again, this is an ihip. This was from last year because I don't have mine done yet, my quarterly reports. But anyway, let's take a look at English. This is what I put for English that my 7th grader was going to do last year. And now let's take a look at the quarterly report. So again, I have the exact same heading as I did for my 1st grader. For him, you can see on my ihip here, one of the novels we were going to be reading was The Sign of the Beaver by Elizabeth George Spear. And then this was my first quarterly report last year for him. So I put The Sign of the Beaver, and then I put all the things we worked on: vocabulary, foreshadowing, plot, character development, and analysis, conflict, man versus nature, man versus man. On my ihip here, I have daily paragraph editing, grade 7. Then so here I have daily paragraph editing, and I wrote the things that we worked on for that quarter, the first quarter. Now for my older student, I typically just put a grade, A, and I'm going to tell you right now, he gets A's for everything, because as a homeschooling parent, I'm not going to let my child fail, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to help him succeed until I think he meets that grade that is worthy of an A. So for him, I don't put a narrative evaluation. And then for math, we did Math UC pre-algebra. And then so over here are the things that we worked on. And again, I gave him an A. And also, I just want to let you know that these things here are the table of contents of the textbook. That is all you have to do, is take your table of contents and write whatever you worked on that quarter. If you have any further questions about how to fill out your quarterly reports, please let me know down below in the comments. And I hope that this video was helpful for you and encouraging. And please hit that subscribe button so you can see all of my other videos about how to homeschool in New York State. I'll see you next time.